Welcome to this video, the part 20. Part 20 of this pre-World Championship match series. The final part, now presenting the 10th game by the challenger, Magnus Carlsen. And as already explained yesterday, I'm going to go for both players' finest hour in the final video of the series. Of course, for a player like Carlsen, who is 22 years old, it's a bit difficult to talk about the finest hour. It's probably yet to come, and it's also not so easy to choose yet. For example, a fantastic tournament in this year, even 2013, Weigansee was excellent, but I had already covered this on video. And still the best performance probably still is his tournament victory in 2009 in China, Nanjing, China, the Pearl Spring tournament, where he scored out of 10 games. It was a 6-player double round robin tournament. Out of 10 games he scored 8 points plus 6, winning all his white games and an additional black game, which totaled for 3,000 rating performance. 3,000 seems a bit of an outlandish figure, but you better get used to that, I think. Carlsen's rating of 2,870. Pretty much, if he wants to keep this rating or even try to improve it, he will need to play some of those 3,000 performances. It's just a given. But he's improving his rating simply by refusing to play below 2,800, which is also simply amazing. All right, let's get to this game. It's the final round game, so Carlsen's tournament victory was already fixed like 3 games before the end of the tournament, because he was dominating so much. But in the final round game, he certainly wanted to try to win to get this fine 3,000 performance. And at the time, this also meant that he would cross the 2,800 barrier. He hadn't yet done that. It's 2009, remember, 4 years ago. So let's see. D4 played. His opponent is a top Russian grandmaster, Decisive. At the time, Jakovenko was probably Russia's number 2 behind Kramnik. He had an excellent run in 2008 and 2009. But to be honest, in this game, he didn't have his best day. But still, it's a very nice display from Carlsen to punish play that it's not really up to the point. Let's see what happens. We have a Queen's Gambit declined, and Jakovenko is playing this early Bishop E7 line. A line that basically was getting popular starting in the 1960s, played by Geller mostly, but also by other top players. The idea is to avoid the classical exchange variation, which always has had the reputation of being slightly better for white, and till this day this reputation stands. I always recommend white players to play the exchange if they have the opportunity. It's simply a nice line for white, and Bishop E7 is designed to prevent this specific move order, because now white cannot put the bishop on g5, obviously. If he wants to get to the pawn structure of the exchange, you can still exchange, but put the bishop on f4. This is exactly what Carlsen played here. Also a good line for white, or something to be recommended. However, I think black has better equalizing chances in this line than in the classical exchange. Jakovenko now played the move c6, which is very normal for this structure. There is an alternative in knight f6. In fact, this is the move that I play in this position. I have played this line as black numerous times. My idea is to play this line, which is a completely different approach, because after queen b3 you go for a sacrificial idea to give up b7. It's very different from what Jakovenko is playing. He played c6, and after the queen c2, there's also e3. White can play queen c2 or e3. e3, however, allows bishop f5, which is not the end of the world. One key point of White's play, and a move that was introduced by Michal Botvinnik, is g4, gaining space on the king side, and even continuing to gain space. This is the alternative, but Carlsen chooses another way. He plays queen c2, also good, controlling f5 so that the bishop cannot move there. Yeah, and now Jakovenko plays an interesting move, a move that looks a bit weird at first, because it seems like black is losing a tempo. Bishop to d6, moves his bishop again. Yeah, in fact, it is a loss of tempo. It's going to d6 in 2 moves, but it still serves a purpose. This is a strong bishop, and you like to exchange it. And there's an additional idea. We see that captured, not much else. e3 and knight e7. This is one idea connected to bishop d6. You free e7 for this knight, and this prepares the move bishop f5. You would like to get this bishop out, or ideally exchange it for f1. So very logical play by black. Bishop d3. Of course, you want to prevent bishop f5. And now Jakovenko plays the move b6. And to be honest, I don't like that move. The idea is to play bishop a6, but it just weakens the queen side. I had looked at this line some years ago when I prepared the Queen's Gambit Declined, and in fact I came to the conclusion that if I play this position, I would play queen f6 here, intending again to play bishop f5. This is my idea and for this position. I'm not sure if it is a great idea. It's yet another queen move, but you really want to play bishop f5. I didn't find a refutation or anything, but it's a possible alternative to b6. b6 is not fatally bad. I just say that I don't like the idea much. Of course, this exchange is something that you like to do, but you lose time and you weaken your queen side. Okay, castles, takes. And believe it or not, the next move is of vital importance. And Jakovenko now plays a very natural looking move, but it indeed leads to trouble already. He should now castle. And after that, I think the position should be slightly better for white, but it is nothing special. The position is slightly better for white because of the slightly weakened queen side. If you had the pawn on b7, it would be completely equal, and nothing to fear at all for black. And here I'd say that white is slightly better. You can think of various ideas. You can play rook c1, trying to get something against the pawn, or you can still play for e4. This is possible, trying to open up the center. After capturing, knight takes, you can play queen d5, and this is a decent position. We see what Jakovenko did in the game is similar, but has a concrete problem. He played knight d7, and now after e4 you cannot really capture, and this is the vital point, because after taking queen d5, white has a very strong move, queen a3, and this is what Jakovenko probably overlooked. Now you have this is basically lost for black already. It's very, very hard now to make a move. You cannot castle because e7 is just hanging. First attacking here and then taking e7. It's important to play knight c3 first. After capturing rook e8, black would get e4 back. Don't want that. So black cannot castle. Then what are you going to do? I'm threatening rook e1, knight c3, and this is a disaster. The relatively best line is something like that.
Check.
Yeah, black is terrible shape. White just attacks with all pieces, and this king is terribly misplaced. White is almost winning in this position. Also have d5, breaking up the center. Terrible. Yeah, the problem is, okay, you cannot take. So what should black play? There is castling, and now white plays e5, and this is what black really wanted to avoid, to give white this space advantage. And the problem is that we now get a very typical type of position. We've got 4 pawns for white against 3 pawns on the king side. So white has a majority on the king side, and it is often very, very dangerous business for black to defend against such a majority, because if white manages to get this majority rolling, it will almost always mean that also your king is going to come under fire. And we see in the game that Jakovenko refuses to play one key defensive move, and this already means that it's so straightforward from here. It's really amazing, but Carlsen's play is from now on here completely logical. He plays rook to e1, of course, supporting those pawns. The rooks are perfectly placed on e1 and f1, because the f pawn is the pawn that wants to get into the game. This is why the rook is fine on f1, and we see this is going very, very quickly. Rook e8, okay, and now strong move, knight h4, very straightforward play, f4, f5. And what should black do? I think here, or in the next 2 or 3 moves, he really must play f5 to stop that f4, f5 advance. It looks very ugly, this move, because at the moment you have your queen as the blockading square for this passer. But there is no choice, you need to play the f-pawn. On a good day, you even manage to play knight to e6 and are okay. Hard to believe you manage, but you need to play f5. Here on the next moves, let's see what happens. He played knight g6, which is probably still okay, but we'll see later. White just captures, of course. Note that knight f5 is not really to the point. It looks nice, but what you want to do is to push the f-pawn. There's also an additional problem, knight f4. And now you need to move the queen to a square where you don't want to go. Let's say here, and now even g6. This didn't really help. Knight d6 now is also answered by this quite annoying move. Yeah, and we are close to a draw here, something like that.
Check.
It's just very simple. Take on g6. Queen recaptures. Okay, you don't want to trade queens, of course. Queen d2. Yeah, why not the queen trade? Simply the pawn pushes will endanger black's king, and you want to have the queens on for that. Later, a queen trade in the endgame, when you have a completely winning endgame, it's okay. But here trading would just ease the pressure. This is why queen d2 is clearly the best move. Here black again had the possibility to play the f-pawn, f5. He didn't do that. Played knight f8, f4, and I think now is really the decisive mistake. Black here really needs to play f5, and it's really strange that Jakovenko refuses to play this move. It looks, I know, it doesn't look like a move you are enthusiastic about, but you just need to block this pawn. Simply no other way to play. Played queen f5, and this is not really a blockade, because yeah, the next move, of course, knight d1. It's very simple chess, but very effective. Knight e3 pushes the queen away, and then you play f5. Played f6, this was probably the idea. Knight e3, queen back. And now the next improving move, queen d3. Simply preparing now knight f5, knight d6. Yeah, and what should black do? It's very difficult to defend. He tries with a tactical way, takes on e5, which after d takes e5, of course, gives white immensely dangerous pawns. But he had a direct idea. Played knight e6, and he wants to go to e4, trying for counterplay. In fact, this is met by a direct tactical shot. f5, knight c5, queen d4. At first, you think, oh wait, this isn't too clear. Knight e4. This is a nice knight on e4. But Carlsen had seen beforehand that now white has a tactical shot, and if you like to treat it as a small exercise, you can stop the video to look here. It's not difficult, but still something that you can use for training, calculating little lines. Okay, I'm going to show the move now. White can just take on d5. Yeah, very nice little tactic. If black recaptures, you just take e4, utilizing the pin. And another point is, after knight to c5, first you think, oh wait, this is a pin, right? The knight cannot move. White has the strong move f6, intending f7. And now black simply loses. There's no defense whatsoever against those marching pawns. For example, let's say this move.
Check.
Yeah, and this is simply deadly. Something like that. The f-pawn decides. This is what Jakovenko played, and now simply queen takes d4. And white has won a pawn, and the worst thing is, look at those pawns. It's just terrible. They are just pushing forward. Yeah, black decided to exchange queens. There's simply no defense here anymore. Rook takes. And rook d6. Yeah, and now it's easy. You just need to push the pawns, trying to promote the two passes, basically. And of course you need the g-pawn for that. So g4, g5. And yeah, first improve a bit more. There's no need to rush things. You could also think about f6 here.
Check.
But it's not so clear how to now continue. You can try rook e1, but why not first improve the king? Don't rush. He's in no hurry. First improving the king, improving the pawn chain, and now you can push. Yeah, black can now take on e6, but
check.
Still faces the unstoppable f-pawn.
Check.
Played the check here.
Check.
And after king h1, resigned. A very simple game. I mean, it looked like white wasn't doing anything special. Yeah, this is probably not untrue. White didn't play any great, brilliant move for years to remember, but this is really typical of Carlsen games. He plays very good moves, very clean moves. They are all completely to the point, and sometimes they just lead to these very one-sided games, where often just one failure of the opponent. Simply here we have Jakovenko simply not playing f5. I mean, after f5, white also has an edge, but he will not be wiped out. And after black fails to play this defense and just goes for queen f5, it looks like a game from a simultaneous display, where one side is just completely dominating the other, and not like a top GM game. It's in fact, a lot of Carlsen's games from this Nanjing tournament look like that. to be honest, he was simply in such an outstanding form that any kind of inaccurate move by the opponents led to disaster. Could easily have chosen one of the other games. I just like the simplicity of this game, and also the little detail here that castles is the much better move than knight d7, because of as mentioned, after knight d7, e4, and this is queen a3. This is also not untypical of Carlsen's games. He outwardly harmless looking positions like that. It looks completely harmless. This what white did here. There's still some poison in this positions, and it's very easy to step into that. Why not play knight d7 first and then castle? And this little inaccuracies, they pile up, and one or two of those, and he will punish you very very fiercely for those kind of inaccurate moves. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this game. It wasn't a very spectacular one, but still something to remember. The 4 against 3 pawns that happened here, and this kind of strategy to push the pawns. Something you can probably use in your own games if you have a similar structure. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this series. 20 games of top level chess from the two contestants of the upcoming match. After the release of this video, there are only 2 days till the first game, and I hope we will have a good competitive match, an exciting match, maybe even one that gets to a tiebreaker. You never know. People ask me about my personal guess about the match result. I can really say that I like Anand's play, and I'm a fan, but I think it's time for Carlsen to win the title. He's the best player, and I expect him to win the match by, if it's by 2 points, I would say, maybe +2, maybe only +1. I don't think more. I think it very much depends on the first couple of games. If Carlsen wins an early game, I think the match is basically over. If, however, Anand manages to win one of the early games and takes a lead, then I would start to bet on Vichy. I think in the last games that he played, he really didn't look like himself. He lost 2 very drastic games recently against Carlsen, and I think it would help him immensely to win a good game and get the match rolling. Remember, it's just 12 games. A win is immensely important, and if Anand manages to score a win and take the lead, I think he has good chances to maybe win the match. The opposite, however, means that it's over. If Carlsen takes the lead, I think the match is done. But we'll see what happens. You never know. You never know. All right. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the series, and I'll be back on the 9th of November, with coverage of the first match game. Thanks for watching.